Welcome back, people, to Bun and Cheese Reviews. This is the last week for football. Now, this week is about young talents, rising stars, whatever you want to call them. There's been so many over the course of the past, 40 years. I remember hearing a lot about Wayne Rooney when I was growing up and how deadly he was at the age of 17. And obviously recently there's been people like Mbappe, who's just took it on himself to completely destroy the league, and even though people call it a farmers league, you know what I'm saying. But then again, he won it with Monaco. He won the title with Monaco before he won it with PSG. That's not something to go unnoticed. There's been talents, and it's definitely exciting. Even somebody like Wilshere, and I do think if it wasn't for his injuries, he probably would have been a lot much of a better player. But this week is about my top 5 favourite rising stars currently in football. The reason why Mbappe isn't on this list, spoiler alert, is because I've chosen to make everybody under the age of 21 as you see this video coming out. So they've definitely got more than a decade of a career ahead of them at that point. You know what I mean? So you won't be seeing, because I've never really understood that somebody at the age of 24 can still technically win the young player in the Premier League at least. I thought that was a bit weird when Jack Grealish got nominated. Was it last season? I was like, I don't know about that one. But anyway, let's stop all the talking, as I usually say, and get straight into the list. Number 5, Gabriel Martinelli. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When I found out that Arsenal spent 8 million on a random Brazilian from the 4th league in Brazil, I wasn't happy. I was annoyed. But my opinion turned around when I saw some of his games. First scoring a brace against Nottingham Forest in the Cup with a nice long range shot. And then scoring another brace in one of the maddest games of the season, last season, a 5-5 draw against Liverpool. Technically it was a 5-5 draw. He has a natural striker's instinct, with seeming to be in the right place at the right time to score a lot of tap-ins. Not as much as Eric Braut Haaland, but he's a special case. Because sometimes it doesn't matter how they're going. Just ask Miroslav Klose and Javier Hernandez about that. But he is adaptable, able to play on the left wing effectively, utilising his pace well to scare fullbacks in the league. It'll be pretty interesting to see which nation he chooses to play for, as he's eligible for both Italy through his heritage of his father, which you'd think would be more opportunities if he chooses them, but he might like the challenge and it might help him spur him on to great things choosing Brazil. These are exciting times for the young forward, for true. But that Brazil team is going to be very hard to get crack in front of. I mean, look at all the amazing attacking talents that they've got, seriously. Number 4, Bukayo Saka. I really like Saka. I think he's a special talent that showed how capable he is of adapting when Arsenal had an injury crisis. Arsenal's injury crisis is as frequent as Peter Parker spreading his shot. He played at left back while Kolasinac, I can never pronounce his name, and Tierney were out injured. And he excelled there, contributing 4 goals and 11 assists in 39 appearances of the 19-20 season. I think those stats are pretty impressive from left back, let alone a first season of a youth player, a first full season. He was presented with a new long-term contract because of performances, and even with everybody fit, it would be hard to not give him a chance to cement that role for good. If not at left back, then maybe on the wing, as that's a position he started off as. Just like Martinelli, he has an option to choose 2 nations to play for internationally. These are England and Nigeria. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, neither of those nations have got a real good chance of winning anything big anytime soon. But Nigeria might have a decent chance of coming away with the African Cup nations, so, whatever. Number 3, Mason Greenwood. This young lad is extremely gifted, able to use both feet equally well, which gives me flashes of the Cazorla at Arsenal and Ousmane Dembele throughout his career. Because he's so technically adept, he's able to play anywhere across the front line for Manchester United, which is something that will be just as important for his development as for his team's progression, as I don't think they have many good wide players, especially when Martial is playing at striker. He became the youngest ever European goal scorer when he scored in his debut against Astana at 17. This same season, he followed up that goal with 4 more in Europe, 2 more in the domestic cups and 10 in the league. Statistically, this has to be one of the best seasons I've seen of a young forward in the Premier League in a long time. It's hard to imagine the England squad in 2022 World Cup without him, even if it means he's on the bench for somebody like Harry Kane or clubmate Marcus Rashford. Number 2, Kai Havertz. Kai is incredibly talented, reminding me of Ozil of old before his past few seasons at Arsenal, tarnishing his legacy, that is. Let's put this into perspective. He plays for Bayern Leverkusen, which is a decent team, but not the giants of the league like Munich or Dortmund, of course. And he takes the responsibility of scoring a majority of their goals every season. Need I remind you, he's primarily an attacking midfielder. In the last 2 full seasons, he has scored 38 goals and 16 assists in 87 appearances. Need I remind you, he's still 21 years old. He is also another 2-footed player with great heading ability. I must add that I'm writing this script before any confirmation of a potential move to Chelsea, but if he has gone there, that will be a scary attack for sure. He missed out on getting selected for the 2018 World Cup with Germany, but maybe that's a blessing in disguise because that was a tournament to forget for that nation. But I'm pretty sure he is a lock in that squad from here on out if he keeps up this sensational form. Number 1. Alfonso Davies, Bukayo Saka on NZT. The end. Nah, I'm joking, but this brother is legit, man. It takes some doing for a 17-year-old to impress so much in a league like the MLS for Bayern Munich to be like, yeah, we're just going to casually break the transfer record over there to get him. He's easily one of the fastest footballers in the world, clocking just shy of 22 miles per hour in the biggest game of the league against Dortmund, and well over 22.5 miles per hour against Werder Bremen later that season. Able to play both on the wing and as a fullback, it's at the latter position he has shown in the Bundesliga. Regarded by many plaudits as already the best left back in the world at the age of just 19, assisting Lewandowski in a 3-0 win over Chelsea, where he got the plaudits in the 19-20 season, and locking down Messi in the Barcelona game of that same season is no ordinary thing to do, of course. I must add that I'm writing this script 2 days before the Champions League final, and something tells me I can see him producing something magic in the game which will undoubtedly be the biggest of his career so far. He has Canadian citizenship, which has never really been a nation to excel in football, but could we see him pull them to at least qualify for the 2022 World Cup for the first time in 36 years with other impressive countryman Jonathan David in his team? We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. So that is all of the rising stars on my list. Obviously, Mbappe would have been number 1, but he just didn't make the cut because of his age. So I thought, make him really young. And those are the players that I've watched the most and I know the most about, I think. So that's why they're in that order, of course, and they're on this list. But there is many more rising stars that I forgot to mention and that just missed the cut. Eric Braut Haaland is another one. What's his age, actually? Oh, I've just realised that Haaland is actually 20 years old. I messed up, yo! I messed up, yo! Oh my gosh. Well, instead of top 5, this is going to be top 6. This is now off the dome. No script intended. Get an extra portion. I don't know where I can rank him. Maybe he's going to be an honourable mention here. So I've already done my list. I'm not going to try and mess anybody about. But if I did my research properly, he probably would have been at number 1 or number 2. You know, either at top because of his amount of goals that he scores for Dortmund, or at second because Alfonso Davies is a killer of a left back. But he impressed everybody while he was at Red Bull Salzburg, and then obviously Dortmund shelled out a couple of millions to buy him, but he's still cheap in this market, and he's been impressive ever since. As I says with the position of Martinelli, it's good on Martinelli, but it's second to none on Eric Braut Haaland. Every single time I see him score, he's just always in the right place at the right time. he's just, he's got that instinct at the age of 20. He looks like a natural striker already. He looks like the complete article, more or less. And another thing about him is his frightening pace. I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but you look at him and you think, man, this guy ain't fast. And this guy is running and running and running, and he don't stop, man. He pays the stamina. He's like a robot, I'm telling you. I know there's a lot of memes about him being a robot, but yes. Also, his celebration's good as well. I really like Eric Broad Haaland, and I'm disappointed that I forgot about him when writing this script. But I'm glad that I remembered while recording it. So that's something extra for you there. So that is truly the end of my rising talents. Apologies for missing out Haaland, but I'm glad I remembered him here. So we'll see you next week with a completely new topic, but to give you a hint, it's to do with sport.